Chapter 6. The Ghost in the Sky. Somewhere above the North Pacific, the drone hummed. It was the sound of progress, cold, rhythmic, almost alive. Carved from obsidian alloys and powered by a hybrid core. It soared at 40,000 feet, with the grace of a predator and the silence of a ghost. Beneath its wings pulsed a canister, glowing faintly blue. Agricide 10, the newest, deadliest version yet. In the cargo plane just under it, Mira stared at the overhead schematic as Lincoln guided the aircraft closer. John leaned over her shoulder, his jaw set. 20 clicks out, Lincoln said into comms. We'll be directly beneath it in 3. David stood in the center aisle, his mind racing. He had trained for war zones, insurgencies, cyber assaults, but this was different. This wasn't about winning a fight. This was about stopping the end of everything green. The drone's on autopilot, Mira muttered. No operator, no AI terminal inside. But it's relaying commands to something else, a deeper signal. Underground, maybe, or offshore. Ryland's not flying it, John said, eyes locked on the feed. But it's still his. The cargo bay shifted as the plane tilted toward intercept altitude. Wind roared past the hull. Time to say hello, Lincoln said, voice sharp. They launched. David and John, suited in high-altitude drop gear, plummeted into the night, two black streaks falling toward the shadow above them. Mira, in the cockpit, monitored the descent, their chutes deployed late, barely 800 feet above the drone. John fired his grapple, catching the drone's undercarriage. David slammed into the hull a second later, magnet clamps locking into place. They crawled along the curved spine like ants on a dragonfly. Geez, beautiful, John muttered, eyes scanning the construction. Deadly, but clean. Where's the payload? David asked. There, John pointed. Mid-belly, pressure release system. You puncture it mid-air, it blooms in seconds. David moved to the bay. Then we land it. Can't, John said grimly. Failsafe. We'll trigger on manual override. Mira's voice crackled on their comms. Unless you give it something to override to. What are you saying? David asked. We lure it, Mira said. Spoof a landing signal strong enough to mimic Ryland's home base. If we make it think it's safe, it might lower itself. Where do we pull it to? John asked. Lincoln cut in over comms. There's an abandoned test range outside LA. Desert. Empty. I can be there in 4 hours with the beacon. David hesitated. And what if it still detonates on contact? Then we bury it before it breathes. A sudden hiss. John turned. A compartment had opened near the drone's dorsal system. Inside, something moved. A humanoid form. Small. Female. David stepped closer, breath freezing. A girl, curled in a cryopod. Wires in her spine. Tubes in her throat. Samantha. Her eyes opened. John, she whispered. Help me. John froze. Every nerve in him screamed. Every instinct said it was impossible. But there she was, pale, emaciated, but undeniably her, or someone made to look like her. David grabbed his arm. We don't have time for this. We have to move. She's alive, John breathed. No, Mira said over comms. She's manufactured. Look at the ports in her arms. She's been grown. David's voice lowered. It's a decoy, John. A weapon. She's bait. But John wasn't listening anymore. He pressed his hand to the pod glass. She's still breathing. I know, David said. And I'm sorry. And with that, he pulled the emergency release on the pod. Samantha fell forward into John's arms. The drone jerked, began shaking. Mira's voice became sharp. It's changing altitude, switching modes. The pod must have triggered a return command. She's the key, David said. She's the override. As the drone banked hard toward California, David activated their emergency beacon. Lincoln's decoy station came online instantly, and the drone shifted again, slower this time, descending in a controlled arc. Mira confirmed it from the plane. It's working. You're reeling it in. David looked at John, but John didn't see him. He only saw Samantha, blinking up at him, confused, frightened, real. And far below, in a private offshore facility, Rylan watched them on a screen. Dozens of other pods lit behind them. Some were copies of Samantha, others weren't. His voice was calm as he turned to the technician beside him. Prepare the others, he said. This was only the ghost. The garden is still coming.